All right, looks like we're live. Welcome back, Pete. How's it going?
Good, brother. Hope all's well with you.
Yeah, we're doing great, and I'm super excited to have you back on the show. Can you, anybody that didn't listen to episode 9, I think it was, I just looked at it
Okay.
this morning. Uh, um, Hopefully I've done a lot better, but anybody that hasn't listened to that show, I highly recommend it. But give us a little info on you.
All right. My name is Pjeter Berishaj. I'm coming out of Michigan, just a town outside, about 30 miles outside Detroit. Um, Born in Detroit, moved up to the suburbs years later, and pretty much been out this way ever since. I started, training, in my 20s, pretty heavy. I dabbled in martial arts as a kid. Got really into training in my 20s. Started out actually in the firearms world, which is kind of unique for most people. I started out in the firearms world, saw that there was like a weird discrepancy in people who carried guns and knew how to fight. I enjoyed, the martial arts as an outsider for a while, but there was discrepancy. So I started martial arts training, kind of took that as far as I felt like I wanted to for a while, and then started integrating the two. Met some good people along the way. Black Mountain Defense kind of started out as, like I said, just a firearms company. We had a Krav Maga school, Krav Maga program. It kind of morphed into almost like an MMA with guns program. It's kind of been a crazy revolution. We have some certifications that are cool. We're certified Krav Maga instructors here, of course, certified USA boxing coaches. We're integrative defense strategy coaches here, and most of our instructors are also range master firearms instructors. If not many people know who that is, it's pretty solid firearms training organization that does like an overseeing body. They're pretty high level. They kind of weed out the weekenders. And that's kind of us in a nutshell. Most of my instructors, actually all of my teachers in the gym, have fight experience. So that's something that we try to promote, that they do that. And that's pretty much us and Black Mountain Defense and myself in a nutshell.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. It's everything I see from you guys always looks awesome. Yeah, it's
Thank you.
a solid program out there. So you are a Krav Maga black belt as well, right?
Yeah, actually, I see my diploma here on the wall. I received my second degree in March of 2022
Yeah, doesn't time fly? See?
from my man Tony Morrison, actually.
Yep. Yeah, he's gonna be on this show. I think I released it next weekend. Good.
Shout out to
Good
Tony.
talk with him after he got his fifth degree.
Love Tony.
Yeah,
I love Tony. Tony's my man.
yeah, I love Tony. He's always super happy and positive.
Can't get enough of that guy.
Yeah, I love Tony. What do you think? I call it traditional Krav Maga because it sounds like you really blend stuff into your program. I do a lot of that as well at Rocky Mountain. What do you think traditional Krav Maga misses?
Mm. Fighting, probably. Cross training with fighters. I think that's the biggest drawback. Going out there and actually fighting with other people that are better at fighting than you, I think takes you to a higher level. I'm a firm believer that competition breeds excellence, and you get to see what works and what doesn't, against somebody who absolutely doesn't care about making you look good doing it. And I think that's, for me, I think that's the biggest issue with traditional Krav Maga is the lack of cross training with combat sports schools. Because I think there's a lot that can be taken from combat sports schools. So, considering myself, we pretty much transitioned to 80% combat sports.
Yeah, yeah, there is so much there. Like somebody not trying to make you look good, somebody who doesn't care.
Yeah, and I mean that's the point. That's the point. Like we're not here to look good doing it. We have to be effective.
Yeah, some of that Krav Maga, front kicks to the groin and stuff are kind of, I think, can be hard to take out of some people's repertoire.
Sure.
I think that could be one of the hardest things for some like solid Krav Maga people, not looking like a jerk in any type of competition. Doing that stuff, I know for myself, that's always kind of hard.
Sure.
By the rules, but I love getting in there and, mixing it up. It's always great when you get somebody into the gym, just even that's done other stuff. Like they're my
Hmm.
favorite people to spar with and train with is, they come from a different system or they did competition stuff. It's great.
Sure.
That's, kind of the hard thing I think with Krav Maga is trying to do it all. And yeah,
And, when I was training for my first degree black belt, I actually reached out to a friend of mine who was a boxer, and I told him I needed to do a boxing fight, and he got me one. I think it was 6 weeks later, and I went and did it. I focused 6 weeks, and I was still training Krav because I was getting ready for my black belt test. So I was heavy into sparring for that. Um, Doing the weapons, of course, doing the kicks to the groin and all that fun stuff. And then in 6 weeks, I made sure that I focused 2 hours a day on straight boxing with boxers from a boxing gym. And when it was time to, even when the stress of my first ever bout, I still never, I didn't kick anybody. I didn't go for a takedown. It was able to just focus on, the rules set. And I think that when you train, enough, you can make decisions and even play by the rules if you wanted to.
yeah. Sometimes it can slow you down. You feel like it slowed you down at all? Like maybe thinking of something, or you're like, "Ooh, can't do it."
Nope, it was all the training just took over. I was freaking out. I won't lie, I was freaking out as I was walking in the ring, because I was actually fighting. My first fight was with a guy who was from another really good boxing gym, and when I was walking in the ring, I freaked out. But as soon as the bell hit, it was just work your hands and work your defenses, and that was it. Just did the work. Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
That's awesome. What are your feelings training with a SIRT pistol? Translating to your live fire trigger pull. Walk me through some of your, dry fire training or SIRT inert laser training pistol translating to your live fire.
I don't think it translates very much at all, to be honest with you, brother. I think the only thing that you really can do with the trigger is like practicing, like keeping your pad on the finger, keeping the finger on the trigger while you're pressing, so that you're not yanking it off. You can focus on that, but like, and then isolating, making sure that your trigger finger moves independently from the rest of the hand. I think you can practice on that, but I think too much SIRT training, like if you overdo it, I think can mess with your trigger press if you're not getting a good amount of time on the live fire.
Yeah.
Mhm. Live fire is crucial.
Yeah. I love it for, practicing under stress. 100% can you making those decisions. But yeah, I feel like if I don't get to the range enough, it definitely, it's the biggest.
I'm with you.
blockage.
Yeah. I spoke to Tom Givens about the same thing, and I think the three of us are on the same page with that. He likes the idea of it, but I think another thing that could give us issues with the SIRT pistols, and I thought it too, and him and I kind of are kind of with that as well. You start forgetting to use your sights. You start learning how to adjust the laser to the target, and forget that there's these things that you might really want to pay attention to, especially when in the heat of the moment, when you might overthrow the pistol, trying to find another target. Like, I think everything has good and bad training habits. I think we just can't get married to one, you know, over any other. I do think though, I did have a student come in with that new SIRT type pistol. What's what Mantis made it?
Mantis, yeah.
Yeah, that trigger is actually pretty decent comparatively to what a stock Glock trigger felt like. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. I don't have enough time behind that trigger to really give any real opinion on it. But yeah, I think the SIRTs, they're just too squishy. They're just nothing like the Glock trigger. So I don't think it's I think too much of it can be a detriment.
Yeah, definitely. Actually firing is the biggest thing.
Yeah, recoil. Got to manage recoil well.
Yeah, and find it in people do cheat those cheat using a laser all the time.
100%.
People when they're doing that, like, hey, that's not the tool you're using. And kind of treating it like a toy and trying to use it the way it should is,
Right.
I think it's tough for a lot of people to get around that in their head. It's, especially if they don't have a lot of time live fire. I think it's another hard thing for them to really do.
I understand.
Yeah. What I had a question I wanted to ask you because we're always evolving and training and the way we're thinking. What do you think the biggest change you've made, and it doesn't even matter, the last year, 5 years, what's one of your biggest changes in opinion on the way you trained your students, yourself, that you're not doing anymore?
Yeah, that's kind of easy. I stopped separating students by levels. I stopped bringing new students in and like putting them into some like beginner stuff. When I started allowing students, training with students, teaching students, and training kind of like a jiu-jitsu school or an MMA school, the level of learning skyrocketed. Like, and the camaraderie between students skyrocketed. It was insane how much different these people started behaving when they didn't have levels to do. Like it would, I used to do like level 1 class, level 2 class, and you couldn't do level 2 unless you did level 1. When I started making a transition to more like an MMA type gym, I just said, you know what, we're all training together and we're going to learn together and fight together. And sometimes you're going to get beat up by somebody who's really good. Sometimes you're going to get beat up by somebody who's really bad. And it ended up working out pretty good. Especially for the adults. I mean, my kids, they box every single day. They spar on a regular basis. They cross train with every boxing school that we can possibly get them to cross train with. But my adults, when I started just letting them train, no curriculum, just let's get in there. Today we're going to work on clinch fighting. Great. I'll teach them 1 or 2 techniques. And then the rest we're just kind of drilling together. And I'll say, switch, find somebody brand new. Boom. And then they start learning. And, I think that was one of the biggest changes for me.
Yeah. Actually, like our rotating curriculum that we do. And I think the biggest in our all levels class, just the biggest challenge is people being intimidated by the higher belts in the class. Like, I'm a beginner, I need a beginner class. Like, no, you don't. You want to train with the advanced person. They're going to be the better partner. Like, that's my only
beginners hurt beginners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I tell them all the time.
Same. I usually, so I will also I do not force, I guess. I persuade or ask my higher level people, and I'll partner my higher level people with, somebody who's brand new, and I'll say, oh, they're brand new. They're gonna have the best class of their life. So they get to get taken care of. They get to get challenged. My instructors or coaches are higher level people. They're not looking to make a name for themselves or test themselves. They're just looking to get more people training in this unique, weird system that we've come up with.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's a great way to run a program because they get that exposure. Well, faster.
When I was at my original Krav Maga school, when I started training, and when I was a level 1 student, the level 3 and up, dude, they didn't even talk to me, which was weird because 7 months later, I was teaching them. I was already an instructor 7 months later. And then they gave me shit about being an instructor in 7 months. So it was just one of those weird things that I just didn't like the separation of people being, hey, I've been doing this longer than you. I don't believe anybody's special in this stuff. I think we're all just trying to train, stay safe, have a good time. And there's no need for me to, have somebody underneath me, feeling like they can't hang out in my class with me.
Yeah.
We just want to hang out and train with cool people. That's all we want here.
Yeah. Just that good quality people makes the gym. That's for sure. Well, speaking a little bit of concealed carry and training, what do you think the average person just concealed carry? That's all they've done. What do you think they're really missing out on? They're not thinking of out with a firearm. What do you think the biggest mistake is?
It's probably that's probably two. We can go for hours on that. We can have a whole topic on that. most of the time just training. They feel like once they got that license, everything is good to go. They, we they're generally relying on luck that they'll figure things out when it happens, or that somebody taught them something once and then they'll just figure it out. So I think training and lack of legal understanding.
Yeah, the legal understanding. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah,
even just Krav Maga misses out on.
yeah. I think people tend to look at the law how they want it to look and not what it is. Um, we recommend Andrew Branca's book, who's actually one of your neighbors, I think. We
I
recommend
think he just
his.
moved out of town.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I heard on the show he was relocating. Didn't really say
Hmm.
where. And I think I saw it. I don't.
Yeah, I recommend his book.
Down the street.
I recommend his book to everybody. But yeah, I think lack of continued education, and legal procedure. People should understand when they can and when they can't do things. But they should understand it better than you know the cops that are going to be arresting them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah. I think it from concealed carry to even my Krav Maga self-defense students. We do a lot more scenario training in the last few years than
good.
we ever did in the past, and just getting people like, you can't say that. Like, we just had one last Saturday where one of my black belts said, he was confronted with a machete, and he's like, "You don't want any of this." It's like, no, you don't want any of that. Like, don't invite him in. Like, just please stay away. Like, don't make it a mutual combat thing.
Right,
And
right.
what we say can really, provoke the other person and lose, the 5 elements of self-defense law.
Well, I think even Andrew said it in his book. He said, a lot of people when they get that license and carry a gun, they think they don't have to take no crap from anybody. When the truth of it is you got to learn how to take a lot of crap from a lot of people.
Yeah.
But again, the gun, by nature and by media makes people feel like they're untouchable. I tend to put the gun on and feel more vulnerable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I think, before our IDS training that you introduced us to, just that weapon retention and just being in the clinch and some of that stuff. I'm like,
Mhm.
man, I felt like when I switched, gosh, whenever the heck it was, 25, 30 years ago from Taekwondo, and going, oh my gosh, like what? There was so much missing,
Mhm.
this martial art, and being a Krav Maga instructor and going, gosh, there was so much stuff I was missing,
Sure.
even confident. As I train self-defense, I fight, I mix it up all the time, and man, you put that gun on and
Mhm.
you're missing that retention part of it, and that stuff, it's fun to grapple, it's fun to stand up, but man, when somebody goes for your gun, oh
Yeah, it's not fun anymore.
man,
Yeah, it's not fun
it's
anymore.
no fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
A flow roll becomes something totally different when there's a handgun involved.
yeah, yeah. Gosh, it changes it. So often you're getting shot with your own gun.
Hmm.
Yeah, those training scenarios, it wakes you up a lot. I think, I wish a lot more concealed carry people would do that.
I agree. I think if most people, spent few hours a month on the range, spend a few hours learning, fighting with their handgun on, I think you'd have way more capable people. And again, most you know people who tend to actually care about this stuff can shoot pretty good. But I think as we understand, from statistics and from what we've learned so much that most assaults are going to be simple assaults, don't even require a handgun. That people will out of fear, start drawing a gun, and there's the legal part again because they get scared and they think that just because I got this thing on me, I can go ahead and start pulling it out and shooting. So having confidence to be able to fight, but knowing the legal to be able to know when what weapon to use and when is important too.
Yeah, it's such a valuable tool when you need it, but when you don't need it, it is a real detriment to the situation and all those other, just somebody in the line of fire behind you, and somebody's charging you with a knife and in different scenarios. Everything you have to consider, if you're not training that stuff and you're just on the range doing static training, you're kind of missing out on that.
Yeah, you're kind of relying on luck.
Yeah, like hoping for the best, which
Mhm.
I really don't want to be hoping for the best with that fire.
No interest, no interest, brother. I want to stack. I want to like to stack the odds in my favor best I can, and for my students as well. You know, what I mean, that's what they're. I kind of think a bit like that too. That, you know, every little day, every little training session is just stacking in their favor.
Yeah, that's how our students are. Yeah, just get a little bit better. You know, as we say here, you know, suck a little less, you know, train more.
Mhm.
You know, you got a little bit better by showing up to class and making some mistakes and doing some things right. And that's just part of the whole process.
100%.
So, I wanted to get this business question in, before I forgot. You know, as a school owner and starting off the way you did, what's been the biggest challenge of running your gym? What's something that really sticks out to you?
Convincing adults that self-defense training is important.
Yeah.
Like it's the craziest thing in the world. Like to try to get people to actually believe that they need training is absolutely insane. You know, with the kids, parents, you know, make the choice for them. Parents know they want their kids to be capable, so that's easy. But like trying to tell an adult, like, hey, you should come in and try this, even with a room full of adults behind them. They're like, no, it's not for me, and I'd be like, no, it you know, am I going to get punched in the face? Well, better here than out there, you know. And I'll say, at least here we'll take care of you, and we'll make sure that, you know, we mitigate the risk of it happening best we can. But yeah, I think that's been the biggest hurdle, is getting adults to come in the door to consider training. That's it. Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Mm.
The last walk-in I had, the guy found himself with his family, confronted, like no punches or anything was wrong, but he was scared and rattled and to make an appointment. Well, I don't know, I'm gonna think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You just felt helpless.
Mm-hmm.
It convinced you to make an appointment to check out an actual live class. Not even to look at it, never mind. Like, watch a class. Try a class is what I recommend, but get in here and these people just in denial. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, sometimes they get, even when they do get rattled, like you said, still don't pull the trigger on training or anything. You know, it's
Yeah.
wild. I think just people don't have a high standard for themselves, or you know, so they just hey, it's all okay. The cops got me. You know, hey, it's okay. It hasn't happened yet, so it probably won't. So why do I need to spend this money on doing something that you know, I probably will never use? You know, or you know, I wrestled in high school, bro. So like, I can handle myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we did I think it was a while back of going, if your last fight was in the fifth grade, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I love that line, you know, well, I did this or I did that. Like, your skills are still perishable. You should know that if you wrestled in high school. You
Can't rely on memories, brother.
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, the life of a school owner can be, you know, like we're constantly convincing people that they need this stuff and
Yeah.
trying to get that
Trying to.
message
I mean,
out.
you know, we hope that you know, we can organically get people in the door, and that we generally don't have any marketing stuff. You know, I found that it doesn't really work well for me. People, when I did, you know, some stuff, people just wanted like pretty watered down. They didn't really want to go that hard with it. So we started attracting a different type of clientele. Still regular folks. We got your doctors, you know, accountants and stuff like that. But you know, they're kind of ready to, you know, roll a little bit. They want to spar a little bit. They like getting after. They might be a little bit twisted. I'm okay with saying that, because I am as well. So yeah, no, I'm all for it. But I think when I left the Krav Maga world as part of my business name, we probably lost a third of our student base.
Okay.
Easy, yeah, easy student base, easy third of it.
Yeah, and they just didn't like the new direction.
No, they didn't want to spar on a regular basis. You know, they didn't want to roll. They didn't think the jujitsu would be as valuable for them. You know, they saw self-defense as a set of techniques and not, you know, I see self-defense as a legal term. fighting is fighting, just like, our homie Todd would say. So I think people just weren't ready for that type of direction, and it's cool. Like some of them just kind of went back to the place I used to teach, years ago, or they kind of just fizzled away and maybe just didn't do anything else. I don't know, but yeah, we lost about a third of our student base, but we started attracting a different breed of people, and it's been incredible ever since.
Yeah, people are actually.
But again, slower. I can't sell them Krav Maga anymore, so it's not Black Mount Defense isn't nearly as popular of a name as Krav Maga, so I can't sell them that anymore. But so we allow them to come watch and see that this is combat sports with the umbrella of self-defense.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, this part, I just said our sparring class is on Saturdays, is right before our beginner class, and two sisters, came in to check it out, and I could tell they were nervous, and like, hey, don't worry, this is a sparring class, not a big deal. One of them says, well, I've done Krav Maga before. I'm like, okay, have you sparred? No. I'm like, well, you really haven't done what I call Krav Maga if you haven't done sparring. Oh, kind of a little shocked. I'm like,
Sure.
Like, you've gotta be sparring, stand up and ground. That's a huge part of it here. Like, I can teach you a technique, but then a fight is on, and you learn those skills.
100%.
I'm all for keeping it simple and not getting crazy, because simple things win so much, and having repetition and being good at a skill set instead of having a whole bunch of techniques that you're mediocre on. But yeah, very surprising to me.
Yeah. Same.
Oh gosh, it's crazy. What do you think of the live people, speaking of self-defense, that typical self-defense practitioner, like, that you lost, that they tell themselves about their self-defense? What do you think the biggest lie is? Especially with those people that just left, or left when you changed over.
I had a funny one. Somebody told me that after one class, that they didn't need to train anymore because they were from the city.
That's great.
Like apparently like being from the city of Detroit made you a good fighter by, I don't know. I mean, the skill wasn't there. Like, I didn't see anything spectacular when it came to the training, but yeah, I think that was, hey, I don't need this. I'm from so and so. I'm like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've had my own family that I lived in the city for a little while in my life too, and I've had family go, no, I don't need to train with a handgun. I grew up in Detroit, and I'm like, okay, what is that? Just because there's a lot of guns there, you all of a sudden know how to shoot. When it's really peculiar conversations, but yeah, that's that.
Oh yeah, that's a funny one.
Or that it hasn't happened yet. I haven't had to use my gun or my skills yet, so I guess I never will.
Yeah. People, like, the lies that, we all tell ourselves something, but some of the stuff that people are just in denial about, that it's not going to happen to me. I'm from the city. I can handle myself. Like, and you might be super aware of situations. You might have way more exposure to that type of stuff. But what happens if somebody actually puts hands on you and you couldn't avoid it? You have no story.
Right. Like, and I live, like I said, about like maybe 25 miles away from the city, give or take. And there's an MMA school like every 3 blocks here. It's not going to be impossible for some bad kid to go take MMA, become an asshole in the area and attack it. You might be running into some kid who had 16 MMA fights before he became a dirtbag. You know what I mean? So yeah, it don't matter where you're from. It matters what the bad guy's made of.
Yeah, you never know.
And what you're made of, right?
Yeah, that's another hard thing for people. Like, it's a tough thing to be humbled. A lot of people don't want to do that. Like, no, I'm like, great. It's one of the guys I grapple with and bring in to the gym just to try to fill some of those gaps and work on stuff that we need for concealed carry, and what are we missing, that you can bring me from UJJ, like he's got to be 50, 60 pounds heavier than me. And
Hmm.
I'm like, it's great. I'm like, you smushed me, you crushed me, you manhandled me.
Sure.
This is great. But a lot of people don't want that.
So comfortable, brother. So comfortable.
Yeah. I think one of my funniest stories is these two guys that were like going to tear up fight class. And then all of a sudden, their wives had book club so they could never come to another sparring class. So that's my all-time favorite excuse for, hey, we haven't seen you in sparring class. And, oh, my wife's got book club.
Fascinating.
Yeah, they came to Fight Club one time, and most people had had enough of these two guys. And,
Book club.
Yeah. So everybody was pretty hard. Usually people are pretty nice to newest guys, but these guys thought they could bring it, and they said they fought in the basement. I mean, just a typical guy.
Book club, though.
Everybody, yeah, but book club, they could never come to like, hey, we got another one on this day. Oh, I can't. Just the excuses and the lies of not wanting to expose yourself to that, and just yourself. Yeah, like, I'm awesome. I can handle myself.
Sure. That we take our kiddos to some of the best places and have them spar some of the top boxers their age, and sometimes they go in and they handle everybody, and sometimes they go in and they go in the car crying, and that's how they know, hey, we got to work harder, and the next time they go, they're doing good work. So I try to instill in our kids, like, hey, get humbled, or somebody's going to do it for you. And it's going to be in a parking lot at Kroger in front of your girlfriend. I'm like, get it done in the gym.
Yeah. Better to be embarrassed in the gym.
Yeah. In front of the boys that you're training with, instead of your girlfriend at the parking lot in the theater.
Absolutely. Gosh, that was one of my, early on when I switched from Taekwondo to Krav Maga, that a mobile health club on Nantucket Island, and I catch this guy looking into the room all the time, and I was like, hey, want to check out my class? And he's like, the women in your class are really good. I'm like, okay, what's the problem? He said, well, I don't want to look stupid in front of them. I'm like, take good care for the rest of everybody. And if you have two choices, look dumb in front of these ladies or look dumb in front of your lady, which one are you picking? And yeah, he picked his, then looked dumb in front of his lady, because he never showed up for class, and it was a small little tiny island, but
each his own. Each his own.
He wasn't doing any other training, he didn't go to that school a block away, and like everywhere else kind of in, anywhere suburbia kind of thing. There's so many places to pick from. Hey, you didn't like me. There's plenty of people to pick around here, but little Nantucket Island, there was nothing. You didn't have any choice.
Yeah, I had a friend told me that he doesn't train because he's got God-given grappling talents.
It's always good.
Yeah, like,
yeah, like, okay. It's like sometimes little kids, for some reason, I see adults sometimes, they hold their hands like this. I'm like, if you're praying, I really hope back prayer happens like instantaneously, but you might want to get your hands up, like you kind of look like you're in a little prayer position, like you got to get your hands up.
Yeah,
your face is wide open.
Hope it gets answered, bro.
Yeah, hope it gets answered. I hope that that God-given talent doesn't suddenly get a little rusty, or God forgot about you that day. I mean, the things people say are crazy. That never gets right. Yeah,
never gets boring. Never gets boring with excuses.
Yeah, the excuses are great. So, anything else from Black Mountain you want to throw on here? We're trying to keep these like 30-ish minutes to be consumed.
Sweet. Actually, anybody that wants to come out to do defensive shotgun training, we're adding that to the menu this fall. Or if you want me to come out to your shooting range for defensive shotgun training, I think the shotgun is making a renaissance, and we are range master certified shotgun instructors, and we'd love to come out and show you guys some stuff. Or if you want to come out to our range, we have a full range facility. If you guys want to come out and anyone to come out to the gym, come train, see what we're about. We'd love to have you, or have us out to your place for a boxing seminar. We do jiu-jitsu for self-defense or fighting. We'd love to come out, and that's about it.
Yeah, cool. I'll throw your contact info into the show notes, and
Cheers.
yeah, we'll have to talk offline about that. That sounds fun.
Oh,
Do
dude.
location, see what we can make work out. This 2026 is flying by, like somewhere soon.
No, I know. It's already halfway through, bro. It's already halfway through. It just happened.
Like it's almost 4th of July.
I know.
Crazy.
I know.
That's what we're
Crazy.
doing this year. So
No.
crazy. All right. I appreciate the time, my friends. I will
Thank you, brother. Be well, be safe.
Hey,
My best to everybody at the gym. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Same here.
Right on.
Have a good weekend.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye bye.